Good evening, everybody. Time is now 7 p.m., June 18th, 2024, and we're going to go ahead and begin the regular council meeting for the city of Marion and call the meeting to order. And we're going to begin by inviting Mr. Brian Muller up to the podium for the prayer. And Mr. Muller, you are, I think, the right-of-way supervisor for the city of Marion, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, we really appreciate you coming in today and giving your prayer. And so if you just want to hit the red button, and the mic is yours.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for what you do. And Father, we thank you for your love and for your forgiveness and your grace and just all you do to provide for us. Father, we just thank you for that. We thank you for your presence here with us tonight. Father, as we meet tonight, we want to lift up our mayor to you and his staff for the decisions that they make. And Father, we just pray for the council and everybody in this room. Father, we pray for them as they make decisions. Father, we pray that you just humble us and help us to set aside our own agendas and Father, just do what best for the city. Father, we just pray for our town around us, and we pray for our city of Marion. Father, we just pray that you would continue to work through Marion, and that Father, someday we could just find revival in ourselves and revival in the city. And Father, just pray that would spread like wildfire throughout our county. Father, we pray that would break chains of addiction and bring families together and restore families and break all the chains that hold people back. And Father, just pray for your presence here in this city. Father, again, we just ask that you help us to make good decisions. Father, we pray that you would help us to just serve each one of us here in the city of Marion. Just help us serve the citizens and remember that that's what we're here for. We just thank you. We love you, and we give you all the praise. And all God's people said, amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muller. Appreciate you so much. And the Pledge of Allegiance today is going to be led by Councilman Brown.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Brunner. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Here.
Marshall, Fordyce,
Here.
Brunner,
Here.
Klein,
Here.
Devine, Witten,
Here.
Cowgill,
Here.
McKinley.
Here. Okay, we're going to move into the neighborhood spotlight, and there's a lot of people in the crowd, so I don't know if I see him, but is Rashard Tyson in the audience right now? Looks like he might have forgot. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and move into the first responder spotlight. Officer Katie Wise, are you here in the audience somewhere? There she is in the back. Come on up. There's a lot of people. I got to look through all of you. Come all the way up to the front. We want everybody to see you. And let's see here. I'm just going to leave this up there while I talk. So come on up here. Thank you so much for coming in today. So it is an honor to always spotlight any first responder in our city, no matter whether it's police or fire. They have a hard job. But today we want to spotlight Officer Katie Wise. She was recommended by Chief Gilbert. And I'll just kind of read his words. He did say that Officer Wise arrested an individual on 3 felonies and a misdemeanor, including neglect of a dependent, OWI with a passenger under 18, and assisting a criminal. After conducting an OWI investigation, a lot went into this investigation, such as a blood draw, a passenger who had a warrant, an understrained child, and a future DCS involvement. All of this took place while the suspect was giving directions in Spanish to the passengers not to comply or speak with Officer Wise. And they recommended her as the neighborhood or the first responder spotlight because of the amount of work that went into it and the detail that she put into it and the professionalism that she displayed during the entire investigation and the thoroughness. So we want to spotlight you. And also before that had come to my attention, I had actually asked the chief as well if we could spotlight her. So it kind of came together. I just happened to see this on social media, on Facebook. says Officer Katie Wise doing her job, helping a citizen who needed it. Officer Wise is one of our best young officers. Great job, Katie. So this is the type of stuff that I love to see for our police, positive stuff that happens every single day. You just don't see it unless someone takes a picture. And you probably didn't even know anyone was taking the picture, did you? Were you surprised when you saw it? Went a little bit viral around here.
Yeah, I saw that.
You seem like somebody that's very humble, which is great, but we just want to say thank you so much for your service to our city, helping those in need and doing thorough investigation. So thank you so much. How long have you been on the force?
About a year and a half now.
A year and a half. Okay, so where did you come from? What did you do before?
So I went to college at Indiana Wesleyan, criminal justice. Did an internship with Marion and liked it pretty, so been there ever since.
Great, great. Well, we hope you stay here. Anything you want to say and add?
Oh, that's good.
I'll put you on the spot, right? Yeah. Give her a round. Yeah. Thank you. So we could get a photo if all the council wants to come up and get a photo with her. Aisha or there you go. Just do it sideways. So come on, you're in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, get in the middle.
We think it'd be a better photo if she tased it.
Middle.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, jeez. Got jokes. Which camera? We'll do this one first.
Look at the chief. He's got the gun.
All right, now Marty.
Ready?
Great, thank you so much.
for your service.
Thanks for your service. Yeah. I've been paid. I've already been paid before. Not as a suspect.
Yeah.
So I can get certified.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts. But I would rather get tased than pepper sprayed, I'll say that. Great, I'm so glad that she was able to make it in today. Moving on to the approval of minutes for the regular meeting, June 4th, 2024. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review those, and I would entertain a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Kane and a second by Councilman Brunner. Any discussion? All right. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. The minutes have passed. Moving on to the consideration and ratification of pre-approved claims, I would entertain a motion.
President, I make a motion that we approve the claims.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Vice President Calgill, a second by Councilman Kane. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. And moving on to consideration of claims, hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review those. And I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we pass all claims as submitted.
Second. I have a motion by Councilman Kane, a second by Councilman Klein. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Claims have been approved. Moving on to committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? So Councilwoman Devine couldn't make it here tonight, but she did send me a quick report from the Board of Public Works, and I'll just read what she wrote. The VOW accepted the low bid from Brooks Construction for the community crossing project. The bid was for $2,944,645.20 for paving and $81,933.50 for striping and arrows, for a total of $3,133,933.50. $26,578.70. There were two alternatives which added $76,423 to the project. The additional money outside of the community crossing grant and budget would come out of the engineering department's budget and general fund. City Attorney Michael Hotz discussed the city property sales process, the minimum bid set for lots to be sold, and the public hearing process. It was discussed in the context of properties that have been maintained by neighbors of the city-owned lots and their ability to purchase the properties. Neighboring property owners get first right to the property to purchase at the set price. If they do not purchase, it will then go to public hearing and public bid. At that time, anyone can bid lower than the set price, but the highest bid will win the purchase rights. Ultimately, the Board of Works approved the sale of two properties on South Lincoln Boulevard to a neighboring property owner, then tabled two other properties on West 14th and South Nebraska. So that was her Board of Works report. And I think that's all we have. Anyone else? All right. Moving on to unfinished business. This was from last meeting. We had a few CF1 forms, which are the tax abatement renewal forms that had been tabled because we needed additional information. And I would like to invite Mr. Chuck Baker, who's the Executive Director of the Grant County Economic Growth Council, to speak on those forms.
Yes, took a look at the forms over the last couple of weeks, and I think there were in total four forms that there were questions about. One was one that just was missing a signature. I believe the council went ahead and approved that one. That was Wiley Metal. We had a FINA Federal Credit Union. There was some information missing. There was some confusion about what was needed on the form. Worked with the CFO there last week, and we were able to get that taken care of. So all the data is there, looks good. We do still need a signature on the document because I received these electronically. So I will definitely personally make sure that those signatures come through. There were a couple of residential ones. One was a property on Crane Pond Drive. Aronson was the name of the folks there. Again, confusion in terms of how to complete the form and how to fill it out. So I was able to chat with them and work through it and help them put that together. So we've got all the numbers there. I checked with the assessor's office and just verified that the numbers are good and correct, and they are. We're missing one. There was Mr. and Mrs. Western. I haven't been able to track that one down yet, so I'll need to get back with you and hopefully get that one taken care of. But as far as I know, that's the only one that would still be outstanding. But I believe that they're all in order and the numbers look right. And as far as I can see, everything looks good.
Well, I really appreciate you doing the work on that. Did any of the council members not get a copy, or did they want to see the updated version? I know we just got them today.
I think you and
Okay.
Councilman Klein have the copies there. I didn't have copies for everyone. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, so if anyone would like to see a copy, they're more than welcome to, but just looking over them prior to the meeting, I don't have any issues with it at all. Looks good. So if nobody wants to see a copy, I would entertain a motion. We would need a motion. So we have two of them, the FINA Federal Credit Union and the one for the Joanne Aronson property. So I would entertain a motion from one of them.
Mr. President, as committee chairman, thank you, Mr. Bankert, for doing all this. We appreciate it. We hope you'll do it a lot more. Okay, everybody heard that. Anyway, I move with the presumption we'll get the signatures that we approve both CF1 forms as a whole.
Second.
Okay, do we need does the motion have to explicitly state those names in those? Should we just put the names in the motion?
Mr. President, with the presumption that we'll get the signatures, I move that we approve the CF1 real property form for Afina Credit Union and the CF1 real property form for Joanne Aronson.
Second.
Thank you. I just wanted it for the minutes. So we've got a motion to approve both of those by Councilman Klein, a second by Councilman Kane. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. And so we'll go ahead and continue to table CF1 form for the Western residential. Hopefully have something by the next meeting. Thank you again, Mr. Binker. Okay, moving into new business, appropriation ordinance 16-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $16,500 from the general fund to Board of Works miscellaneous contractual services for tree removal throughout the City of Marion. Speaking, City Administration.
Get comfortable. I'm gonna be up here.
Welcome, Mayor.
Long time tonight. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna be up here for a while.
The air conditioning is working too, so you can take
Yeah.
it off. Maybe keep it on if it's too cold.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited and honored to be before you again with some great things that I believe is gonna help the city of Marion. So first, with this ordinance, we know that we're working very strategically to clean the city of Marion up. And if you spend any time riding around our city, you'll quickly notice we have a lot of trees that are contributing to multiple things. One, blight. Two, danger in some situations. And three, just anti-beautification of our city. So this first iteration of $16,500 will go forward, and I believe you guys got a detailed invoice of all the trees that will be removed with this money. And going forward here into the this budget cycle, I would like to create a line item in the future that where we can start addressing trees every single year. So this is just like the most immediate ones need to be done, and then next year we'll start budgeting to be able to take care of trees on a more annual basis.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just trying to pull up on the screen here. I think all the council members saw this, but all the trees that have been identified as dead, I've confirmed, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the trees, and they're dead. And so I appreciate the mayor being open to this. I know we have talked about it quite a bit. So any questions for the mayor? Go ahead, Council.
Mayor, what miscellaneous contractual service is this gonna go into? Because normally it goes into the engineering department. They usually have money in their budget to take trees out.
We'll send it to the Board of Works contractual line item, and they'll just pay the invoice from there.
You're gonna send it to the Board of Works?
Yeah.
Instead of thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we pass General Ordinance 16-2024 onto second reading, public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice President Cowgill, a second by Councilman Brunner. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 16-2024 will move on to a second reading, public hearing. Okay, moving on to appropriation ordinance 17-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $90,000 from the edit fund for Wonder Space Play. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
Since I've been in office, I sometimes in my lack of better judgment, I ask people on social media what's the best thing that the city of Marion needs, and everyone always goes to something for the kids to do. And from my background and seeing our youth, even tragically this year, having youth committing murders, we're at a point of no return almost, and we must do something as a city, as a county, and even as a state. But we need to take steps from a city to be able to step up and make sure our kids have a safe place and something fun to do. So as I begin to figure out what the city of Marion could create to benefit our kids, I came across an organization that's already doing something magnificent for our city, and this is a request to give them a chance to expand. And I want to give, I don't know if Stephanie's here now, but I want to give her a chance to briefly explain what Wonder Space is as a nonprofit organization.
Welcome, thank you. Just hit the red button.
Red button.
Sorry.
Oh, you already did that for me. Thank you. I'm Stephanie Freemeyer, and Wonder Space is a ministry of local churches in Grant County through College Wesleyan Church. We were founded in 2018. We're focused on improving the physical, social, mental, and educational health of children through developmental play. Sir, should I explain more?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were still going. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't get the cue on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know how much you want, how much background
So
you want there.
so again, exactly what is this request funding?
Yes, so when Mayor Morrell approached us, he asked us what would we need to expand the ministry that we provide to reach a city level. And so we came back with this proposal. Honestly, you can't buy yourself out of a childhood well-being problem. And that's why you see so many people in the room right now. I don't know how many of you are here for Wonder Space. If you're here for Wonder Space, if you'd raise your hand. So the reason we have this support in the room is because money can't solve this. It's going to require all of us working together to make an impact that's going to change the trajectory of childhood well-being and family health in Grant County. So, yeah.
So is this funding
Oh, yes.
program
So this is
or
funding
capital?
this collaboration. So College Wesleyan Church, we have already established a play space at CWC that's open to the public 1 day a week and 1 Saturday a month. Now we are collaborating with St. Paul Missionary Baptist and Real Community Church to expand that. And what you would be funding is that expansion to those 2 additional churches. So St. Paul and Real would then receive funding to buy the equipment they would need to expand our play, not replicate our play, because we want the city to then be interested in attending the different sites, different days of the week, and not grow bored of the opportunity that they have to play there. So each site would expand the play. If you think about this like a children's museum, expanding the quality and the type of play that is available to our children. And then we would collaborate the days of the week that were open. So just hypothetically, CWC would be open on Tuesday, Real would be open on Wednesday, and then St. Paul Missionary Baptist open on Thursday. And then we each would also be open 1 Saturday of the month. So you can see how this will quickly grow and expand the capacity of number of families that can come and play. Also, the framework of our ministry is to be a free play space for children. And so we are committed to work together and use the resources we have to keep this free to the community, and then expand the number of days and hours that we're open throughout the week to accommodate the number of people interested. So if you look through this proposal, you'll see in our history, since we opened, we have already, we've had 6,500 unique attenders come and participate within Wonder Space and our play dates and EDU programs. So we only see that growing. And with this collaboration, we see that expanding. I think it's also worth noting the location of the churches and the diversity of the churches. So we recognize this isn't a problem we can solve alone. We need each other. We need St. Paul Missionary Baptist. We need Real Community and the reach that they provide in the community, the locations where they are, that diversifies our access throughout the county. So all of this has been thought through on how we can best meet the need, diversify our reach into the community, and then also increase our accessibility where families can access us from various parts in the community depending on their ability to travel to those different locations.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking on my other computer at the same thing with the cost associated and just trying to understand where the money's going. So you have 78,500 to church expansion site 1, 16,650 to just other printing, consultation, financial oversight. Your total amount request on here shows 176,790. This is showing 90,000. So where's the gap coming from? So you're at,
Okay, so.
No, I'll speak on it. So what, would just be requested as the fund parcel of it, and the rest would be, we just want to come in as a partner, not fund alternative.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Can I speak to that for a moment?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Do you want to speak to that? Go ahead. Okay. Let me pull up my notes. When we were invited to explore this, to expand what we're currently doing to reach a city capacity, this is what we would need to do that. And perhaps there's more conversations as to why that has been proposed to 90,000. But I would really like for that to be reconsidered. The people that you see in this room, we are already giving our infrastructure, the experience we've had in the last 5 years in building this for the city. We are overextending ourselves beyond our current job descriptions to see this happen because we believe that the childhood well-being in Grant County is worth fighting for. And then to be asked to raise the remainder of that 90,000 to expand this to reach a city level feels a bit beyond what we're already offering here. And so I would appreciate that to be reconsidered to the full amount.
Thank you so much. Just a question on the type of organization this is. Is this a church or nonprofit, or like where, if this money were to be given by the city, what organization specifically, or what type of organization is this?
I'm Stacy Ruberg. I'm the director of Wonderspace. Good question. We are a nonprofit operating under the umbrella of College Wesleyan Church. The funds that we are requesting in this proposal are for play dates only. We understand that there is obviously a separation of church and state in the United States for good reason, and we respect that. What we are asking for is the funds for the play dates themselves. There is no proselytizing, no religious education. There's nothing that happens that would violate church and state during those play dates. They're public, they're free, they're open to anyone, regardless of belief or association with any religious organization.
We also have consulted different members in the community, and from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, I just want to read a portion of this situation of the separation of church and state. So the United States Supreme Court has said that faith-based organizations may not use direct government support to support inherently religious activities. Basically, it means you cannot use any part of a direct federal grant to fund religious worship, instruction, proselytization. Instead, organizations may use government money only to support the non-religious social services that they provide. And that's what we are communicating that Wonderspace Play is. We do not have a religious agenda at our play dates.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. I'm going to ask our legal counsel to weigh in on this one.
I'm going to need time to
to look into that. That's a thorny issue. I'm gonna need to address that with the city attorney to verify. I have no doubt that what she's saying may be completely correct, but I just have not had a chance to look into that yet, and we'll do so at the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, this program, it sounds like we need it. It sounds like it's a phenomenal program. I think I would speak for myself that I think this is definitely a huge need in our community, and I thank you guys so much for having this program and really want to see it succeed. So what we're going to do, just on advice of council, is just table it to the next meeting to give a little time, because as you are probably aware, in this world we live in, if we make certain decisions as a council, it could cost the city a lot of money if we get sued, and we want to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. Obviously, there's no guarantee. It would still require a full vote from the council for approval through 2 separate meetings at least. But we just want to make sure that if we were to move forward with this, that we are well guarded and protected. It's our duty to protect our taxpayers from lawsuits as well. So we really appreciate everybody coming in here. Definitely shows that you guys have done a phenomenal job getting support in the community. And hopefully we can come back in the next meeting and have some clarity on that. So we're going to go ahead and table this to the next meeting. It will be the first meeting of July. And by then, I think we'll be able to have better opinion from our legal counsel. So, and in the meantime, gives us some time to ask more questions and learn your program better and maybe help advocate for it. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and table the appropriation ordinance 17 to 2024 to the next council meeting to give our legal counsel time to just make sure we're taking the right steps on that one. Phenomenal program, though. I'm really glad we have it. I'm going to move on to appropriation ordinance 18-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $300,000 from the ARPA fund for Marion Public Library Services. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell, Jr.
Okay, with the library, I'm a big believer in education, and I gave this presentation in our budget meeting, but big believer in education and a big believer in that we need to invest in our kids and have a safe place for people to read, etc. The library is a staple for our community, and as Councilman Klein, I'm sure he can speak to as well, it's in some disarray and repair areas. So we, as I was coming up with the next 12 things on the agenda are all ARPA master plan related, and as I was coming up with this plan, I wanted to do something that I believe could touch every element of the community. So the next 12 things you're going to hear are going to be a part of this. The next 10 things you're going to hear will be a part of this ARPA plan that is, I believe, is all encompassing to be able to touch every element of the community. And the first thing on the list is making our library up to standard to be able to service our community in the best way possible. And specifically repairs to their roof and other maintenance throughout the building.
Great, thank you so much. I know we did go over all of these requests for ARPA in our last budget committee meeting. I didn't necessarily talk about it in our committee reports because I knew we were going to get to it and these appropriation ordinances. So thank you for explaining that. Any council members have questions? Councilman Fordyce.
Is the director of the library here?
No, she's not here.
She is.
Yeah, she is. Yes, she is.
Oh, she is here. She's blending in. Yeah.
So I just have some questions I would like to ask. I tried to stop down today, but you were locked down because you had no power. So, but I wanted to stop down and talk to you and look at your building. My question specifically is on the $300,000 that you need. I know you need a new roof. roof and that you're advocating for that. But in our other meeting, last week was, your budget's 2.6 million
That's correct.
and your salaries are 65% of your budget.
I think it's 62. I went back and checked on that.
Okay, you told me 65, I just,
It's, I didn't have my budget in front of me last week, so it's about 1.4 for salaries.
yeah, 1.69 is what I got.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I was just curious, how many people do you have at the library for 1,690,000 payroll?
We have 34 employees.
Yeah, 34 employees. Boy, that's a lot.
They are not all full-time. We do have about half are full-time, half part-time. And then also, if you did look at the wages of our staff.
No, I didn't get the report. That's what I was gonna try to come down and talk to you today and get that to see what your report was as far as salaries and stuff, because it's a high rate to me for a library. That's a high rate for salaries, 62% or 63%. 1.69 million a year is substantial for salaries. And then, I mean, my question is, that leaves you $910,000 in your budget, and you say that you don't have the money to put a roof on. And I know that the board allocates $25,000 a year for repairs.
That's correct.
Evidently, that's not much, but or enough. So where does the remainder of your $910,000 a year go?
It's allocated across the organization to office supplies and different programming and other things within the library budget. The library budget is actually online, so anybody can view it at any time. But the roof is in great need, and we do not have $100,000 to fix that roof. And so these funds would really help us move the museum portion of the library into a better position to support programming and exhibits to the facility. We want to create a cultural experience for the community. So, but I'm happy to discuss my budget with you.
Well, that's just what I was looking at. If you're needing money and you don't have money to repair the roof, it seems like that, you know, either you've got a shortfall or it's not budgeted correctly, or because you have to have some money for maintenance on the building and overhead. So, but I mean, if you don't, I was just curious of where the rest of the money went. And also my other problem is that you're a taxing unit. So if your budget's too short and you can't keep up the building, do you increase your tax? You're a taxing unit.
That is I am 2 months into the position, but I have been told that increasing taxes is a very hot button issue. And so it's a difficult thing to navigate.
No, I understand that, but if you can't maintain your building, you don't have enough income. I'm just.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
So if you have to come to us, I mean,
Yes.
you know, this is just a one-time shot. What are you gonna do in the future?
Well, we do, my board and myself are going to be working on a capital strategic plan. That is one of our initiatives that we are planning for the fall. But as I said, like, we have several things that need work on within that building, but there definitely needs to be a plan in place moving forward on how we do building maintenance. And then there are just several things that need to be addressed.
Okay.
The roof is just one thing, but we do, like, this is a discussion we've had, is that we need a capital plan.
Sure.
So.
I would agree 100%.
Yes. Are there any other questions?
If so, I mean, is that your most dire need? I mean, why did you ask for 300,000 if the roof's only 100,000? I mean, because do you need 200 more thousand to operate or fix repairs, or I'm trying to get the gist of all of this.
Sure, Mr. Fordyce, I will be completely honest and transparent with you. I've been at the library for 2 months. This was not my proposal.
Oh, okay, it wasn't.
This was not my proposal. This was the previous director's proposal. Had it been my proposal, it may have been structured a little bit differently. Even in these 2 months, I can see that things need to be reevaluated. But the one thing I got on the first week was the tour of the museum. And if we don't fix the roof, that is the immediate need for the library at this point. And I'm still waiting to get actual bids from contractors for that.
Oh, so you don't even have bids yet on it?
This was a bid that was done before I was there. And so it is an old bid. So I'm sure costs have gone up on that. So yeah, but you know, the library, they're doing some great things, and I feel like it's going to move in a good direction. And we will have to address the roof, whether we get the ARPA money or not.
Sure.
We'll, you know, look for funding from grants and various entities, but we would really benefit from the money for this particular issue.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right now and let Councilman Klein go ahead and speak.
Yeah, thank you. First, I have to abstain on this vote, but I'm still gonna, but please indulge me. I'm on the library board. I've done, what, 17 or 18 of these budgets. To answer one of your questions, Councilman, that 900 some, almost $1 million goes for the marginal cost of keeping the lights on, keeping the place heated and cooled, for various and sundry subscriptions, for the services we offer. We buy books, we buy films, we'll buy tapes. We have services that we pay for through our, and you can get them through the library website. As Ms. Pitts said, she's kind of hung out to dry, and I admit that on this. And you've all got a copy of the original library proposal, and it was made when the ARPA committee was originally formed back in what, 21, 22. And that was when the money was specifically supposed to be targeted for COVID-related things, and that's evolved, as we all know, as we'll find out from hearing these appropriations tonight. The roof, yes. I mean, it's not just the roof, it's what the roof protects. Mm-hmm. The museum and all the things in there that we go and look at and use, or at least I hope we do. But that 900 some thousand is well spent. It's not wasted. And I have worked on those budgets, and we get a growth quotient every year, as taxing bodies do, how much we're allowed to go to. And if the library exceeds that magic number, then another taxing body is allowed to come in and take over that budget. So we are very careful to stay within that quotient and not do any more taxing than we have to do. So I would say go for the roof. I don't know, but I mean, I didn't want you to get hung out to dry, and you kind of were, through no fault of your own, no fault of ours either. Those are great questions, and I hope I answered them, and I can answer more. I'm abstaining on this. I probably would vote yes, but I need to abstain since I'm on the board, but I might be able to answer some more questions. Thank you for indulging me.
Any other questions? Councilman Fordyce.
Well, and I understand that, Mike, and that's just my question. I mean, if their budget is too low to where they can't take care of the roof, this just didn't happen overnight. I know she's new, and I understand that. But if there's major construction needs that are met to protect the museum, which I feel definitely needs, its great institution, library is, I'm back for it all 100%. But we don't even have current bids. I mean, you know, is it 100,000? Is it 150,000? Is it 400,000? I mean, you know, if it's 100,000 and that's gonna fix it, I mean, I'll go for 100,000, I'll amend it and go for 100,000. I just don't know why, what the 300,000, if it's 100,000 for the roof.
All I can speak to is what's on the original form. It's updating rooms, cleaning up rooms. There's a wonderful room that doesn't get used much, the Carnegie Room, because it has some structural needs. It's all in that, and granted, that was done in the original permutation of the committee, which essentially got blown up before you. And your points are well taken.
I will say there was other things other than the roof in there too. There was the conference room, there was TV, there were some other things in there. I know it didn't necessarily add to the 300, but I know they had other things in there as well. But
Yes.
most of it was the roof, though.
Yeah.
So.
Sure, but that's my point. I mean, you know, if we need to help them with the roof, I don't have any problem with that. But if they just need, you know, new carpet and TVs and stuff like that, I mean, you know, I mean, we have to be careful and strategic on this ARPA money also. And, you know, we've got things we need, and I mean, you know, so how much is it? I mean, what is the 300,000 going to go for? I'd like to know, since it's ARPA money. It's a one-time shot for us. And, you know, on the proposal, okay, it's 100,000 for the roof, okay? I just like to get more specific on it, and that's just my opinion on my questions.
Would it be, oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Go ahead.
A thought, and again, I'm not voting on this one, but would it be, Mr. President, a reasonable thought, and Mr. Mayor, to allow the library director to restructure the ask? I don't know if that's a proper thing to do. And maybe with bids, with an idea, the 300,000 covers only the roof. Who knows? But it would, and granted, as I said, this bid is at least 2 years old, because that's what it was done for, was back the original purpose. So is that a reasonable idea? I'll just throw it out. I'm not voting, I'm just throwing out ideas.
See, that's fine. We can, we can put this off and give her a chance to reformat it, and then come back again.
I just want Mr. Fordyce to know that I did have our head of properties have someone out to take a look and give us bids for the roof. And it's been 6 weeks, and we followed up twice. And so it's been difficult to get a bid on the roof so far. So that's part of I don't know what the roof is going to cost, because somebody won't give that to me. I don't know what roofs cost. But also I would I'd be happy for you to come by the library and tour the museum and talk more in depth about this. Like, I really welcome that.
Sure, I understand. I tried to today, like I said, and maybe we could have got some of this cleared up, but
sure.
I just have to get to the particulars, because it's like I said, you know, that it might be 200,000 for the roof or 300,000. I don't have a problem helping out with it, especially if the mayor recommended it. I just, you know, we've only got so much money. And,
well,
you know,
you have other great entities,
need,
right?
Sure, we need other things too. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just like to get the detail and not say, okay, here's 300,000, spend it the way you want.
Sure.
You know, I'd like to know what we're doing with it. So.
Absolutely.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just for clarification too, I mean, I don't have a problem with that if that's what the mayor and you both agree on, but just looking at the proposal, it was, and I could put it on the big screen too, but take a minute. There was the Carnegie Room, 150,000 approximate. Another portion of the Carnegie building was another 100,000. Meeting room B of updating everything in that meeting room was $39,189. So they had an approximate cost of everything. They did have it all detailed out of $307,994 in that original proposal. So while I understand we're talking about the roof, I just want people to understand this is more than the roof. It was this 300,000 isn't just for the roof, but I do agree that I think getting a bid on that roof, because well, yeah, we don't know how much it really costs.
Right.
And I think it'd be good for you to know before you get into all this, because what if the roof is now more than 300,000, and then you get 300,000 and you got to find the other money. So I think it's probably just a healthy process.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they bid it at the time at 100,000 or 150,000 a couple years ago, it's definitely going to be more than that. Hopefully not more than the 300,000. And so yeah, I mean, Mayor, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I will say, you know, if the bid comes back at 150, we hope, or if it comes back at 250, I think that this investment into the library doesn't necessarily, from my vision, doesn't change what needs to be done for the city. So I do think that it's fair for them to be able to go through the bidding processes like we do with everything, and I think that we should have responsibility in being a part of that and overseeing that. But I'm not sure that kicking it off to another, I mean, unless we just don't want to invest in this thing, which is fine. But I think that the library is worthy of this investment. I do think that moving this along, whether the roof ends up being 150 or ends up being 250, they have to take away some of the other detail that, and it might be good to put that up there if you have access to that the quote with all of the things spelled out so people can see all the different itemizations of what this money would go towards. But obviously the most expensive thing would be the roofing. But there are other things that are viable to the library that I think is worthy of our consideration and investment.
And with the roof being bad, didn't you have some damage in from where it had been leaking? That we had to
Yes.
repair stuff inside as well?
Yes. We have plaster
That's what I'm
damage.
saying, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, I agree with Mayor. I mean,
Where's that on there?
to do everything, 300,000 probably isn't enough anyway. So I would be in favor of voting on this tonight.
Well, I'm just looking, if you got interior damage due to a roof repair or a roof leak, or, I mean,
I'd start over here, I didn't hear. I'd start over, I didn't hear the first word.
I said, if you've got interior damage due to a roof leak, I'm sure they have building insurance. If the roof is ceilings falling in, I'm sure they've got insurance on the building. If it's get to that point, they can do temporary or something. I was just wanting more specifics on it, so, you know, we knew what was going for. I mean,
I mean, I agree with your point. And, you know, it is our responsibility to make sure this money goes to where it needs to go. The mayor's requested it. But the flip side is it's the public library has its own board to determine these details. And I mean, we should check into these things. We should know these things. You know, if we were to, let's just say, approve the 300,000 and then their bid comes back at 200,000 or 250,000, to I think one of your points, then great. They can still put the roof on, and then they have some extra to maybe do one of those extra projects that was listed. I will say the proposal that was given to us was detailed down to the very dollar. Now, could those have changed over time? Yep. But would it change the outcome of us wanting to give the 300,000? I'm not so sure it would, because I think we would still see this as an investment in the library. And to boil down, I mean, the ARPA really, it's got rescue in the name of it. And in a sense, we're kind of throwing a lifeline and a rescue to the library, and these tax dollars that came to us, while it's our fiduciary responsibility to make sure it gets dispersed. I mean, they came from, I don't know where the government printed the money for us, which is probably why our inflation's where it is. But we've got to spread the love, I think, and whether the roof is 200,000, 250,000, I'm not so sure that would change our opinion of whether we should give the 300,000 or not. I think if we were to approve the 300,000, great. And then they're going to say, thank you so much. And then go through forward, maybe find someone to bid on that and see where it lands, and whatever's left they can use for their little extra projects they have. Because the last thing I want to do is truly micromanage this. I mean, this is really just the disbursement of funds with a commitment that you're going to use it for. You're telling us once the money does leave our account, there's nothing else we can do after that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I totally agree with that. I think our decision tonight is to fund the $300,000. We give it to the library board. They have a great board, Mr. Klein being one of those, a new director, and whether that roof costs $150,000 or $250,000 on the back side of it, they're just not able to complete all the other ask that was in their original proposal. So our library is a staple of the community. It's a great building. If the public hasn't used the library, you're really missing out. Not only to take your kids there, your grandchildren, but my wife and I enjoy going and touring the building and through the museum and using the book side of the library. And I think our job tonight is to determine we have $300,000 to give to the library. Let them decide after they repair the roof, which is their main concern, what's left they can spend as needed. But it's an investment in the library. Thank you.
And thank you for those kind words. They're absolutely true, except maybe for the part about me. The board was involved in that original, so it was deeply involved in that. And like you said, it would be involved, will be involved with whatever happens in the future. So it's not, there'll be oversight beyond the councils.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we pass appropriation ordinance number 18, 2024 to a second reading and public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kane, second by Vice President Calgill. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Yes.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Abstain.
Witten,
Yes.
Calgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 18-2024 first reading is passed. We'll move on to a second reading, public hearing at the next council meeting. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And we wish you the best.
I would like to thank the city council for your support of the library. And as a new director, that's very encouraging. So thank you, all of you.
We wish you nothing but the best, and you've got a lot to look forward to.
Yes, I do.
Okay, moving on to good point. Moving on to appropriation ordinance 19-2024 first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $204,000 from the ARPA fund for Marion Animal Care and Control, seeking Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
So since I've been mayor, I've had a chance to go out and tour every department within the city, and it's been a very encouraging experience. I went to the animal shelter, and it's one of those things that will bring you to tears if you haven't had a chance to go out there yet. Our cages are being held together with zip ties and drywall mud bucket. There's no ventilation system. The animals are getting out of the cage, and literally, I mean, I wish I could make this other guy out of the cage and bit somebody's fingers off just a couple weeks ago. So what we're in a situation of, obviously we want to improve this, and it's a need, but we're past just the want part of it, right? We're like at like a dire situation where we're endangering employees and citizens and guests that come into our animal shelter, and our employees deserve better than that, and our animals that we're taking care of out there deserve better than that. So I think this is our first step in showing that we care for our employees that work there and the animals that we're serving here in the city of Marion.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, do we have any questions, comments?
Go ahead, Mayor.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize Brittany was here.
Okay.
She might want to say something to it.
Welcome, Brittany. Go ahead.
I just want to say thanks for letting me come. I was nervous last time and did not know I was talking. But I do want to thank Cowgill for coming out and looking at the shelter. It was really nice to see him come out there.
Right, thank you. And he did give me a report. I didn't want to come, but I just couldn't get there. So he immediately texted me when he was there saying, this is bad. So yeah, I trust it.
And that was very kind of you to be home and come out there, and I guess wires were crossed on wind, but thank you for coming back in.
Anytime.
And Mayor, your words could not be any truer. It was heartbreaking today. I mean, to see these animals, and I took some pictures, and it's just, most of their cages, they're kept shut with cinder blocks pushed up against the bottom of them. Or they're not meeting up towards the top, that any dog could really probably get out in a number of different ways that they want. Brittany showed me a video of, I can't remember if you said it was yesterday or what day it was.
It was Monday morning.
Yesterday morning, that they came in and there was 5 dogs wandering around that got out of the cage. And then the problem is I'm worried for the safety of you all that work there as well. Because somebody goes in there, if one of them dogs is a vicious dog and you think they're all locked up and they're not, well, just like the guy that had his finger bit off. I mean, it's, and this money is probably a drop in the bucket for what they need. And it's my understanding this money will fix all the cages. It's to do all new cages with the block and be more sturdy, harder for them to escape, new doors and things like that.
Correct.
Yeah, anybody goes out there, they're in dire need of it. I'm gonna support this 100%.
Thank you.
If this were to pass and you would get the funds and this work would be done, what would that mean to you?
It would mean a lot. The mayor said he was not sensitive last meeting, but I am so sensitive, especially when it comes to the shelter. I've been there since I've been 18 years old. It's my home from home. I love them, all of them. And it takes a lot to go in every day and see it. We have zip tied it. We have put fences on it. It's time for them to get what they deserve. It is our job to protect them while they're in our care, and we're not. You know, they're getting out. They get into fights. So we're spending more money on medical when it's our job to protect them while we got them. And it's time.
Well, I thank you for that. And obviously we can tell that this is a huge passion of yours. And I think anyone that's involved in the animals, it's always a passion. And I would say, and I brought this up at the budget committee meeting, I wanted to say it here too, but, and this might pertain to some of the other ARPA requests, and the mayor knows how I feel, and it's not his fault, but I think really moving forward, I mean, this is a one shot in the arm, but moving forward, we really need to take a close look at what we're doing at the animal shelter funding and the structure and how you're able to get things in the budget, because we cannot let it get to this point again.
I agree.
And I'm not blaming you. It could have just been a lack of funding or priority, but it definitely needs to be a priority. And I know the mayor, obviously he's bringing it to us, so it's a priority for him, and I applaud him for that and listening to you guys. So appreciate you coming in. And
yeah, we appreciate the mayor. He's the first mayor that's actually ever stepped foot in our building. So we applaud him, and I think it was just a structure issue, and we just want to be a part of the city. You know, we just want to be seen across the railroad tracks.
You are seen. Trust me, you are. So thank you so much. Any other questions, Councilman Fordyce?
Hi, Brittany.
Hey.
Will this, I know you've submitted for bids for the kennels, right?
Yeah, we have.
Did you get 2, 3?
So we had 5 different contractors come
Oh,
out.
good, that's good.
Yeah, most of them said the job was too big.
Mm.
Most of them said it was too noisy, they wouldn't do
Sure,
it.
sure.
So Ty is the only one that actually submitted the bid.
And that's the poured cement walls.
Yes, correct.
So that's gonna take up most all your 200,000.
And we understand that, but I feel at this point, if we do any other thing else, we're just putting a Band-Aid on it. We did have a latch system in the cement blocks, and it probably lasted maybe a month before it chipped out. Our cement walls are sealed. I did look into that. They are sealed, and they're still absorbing the water. Like you can ask, Kelly came out and looked at them. You can still see where the water over time is going to break them down.
Yeah. I understand that.
So
On
I
the
feel,
sealer.
so I feel like if we're going to put the money to the shelter, it needs to last us more than 5 years. I think it needs to last us 30 years if possible. I feel like at this point, we do have a lot of issues with the shelter, but the kennel is the main issue. And I'd rather make it correctly than just keep repeating it.
So is that for the 2 outside walls on the interior and the outside kennels? Because you've already got the interior center walls
Yeah,
done.
so it's just the ones that are not completed. We will deal with the ones that are already. Now, he is going to put latches on those, so we do not have to use the center blocks. But the quote is for all the exterior cages and the outside exterior cages.
On the interior walls?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's all new gates, right?
It will be all new gates, everything.
That's included in that?
Yep,
And
and
you're using the existing gates that were purchased for the kennels for the top?
Correct.
To keep them
Yeah,
in.
because they were measured wrong, so they're a little too big. So
So
he's
is he gonna go ahead and epoxy the existing block kennels that were built in 2022?
Well, the previous people said they were epoxied, but that's not.
He put a block sealer.
Yeah. So
He didn't epoxy them.
So that wasn't included in his original, because we
Okay.
didn't know how he sealed it at
Sure.
that time. But like I said, I can always reach out to Ty and see if he
Sure.
would include that
Yeah.
and see if it would change the quote.
Yeah, that'd be sweet
Yeah.
if they could epoxy seal those inside kennels, because they're all done. They just need the gate latches and stuff put on them.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions I got. Thanks. Brittany.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, just one other thing I forgot too, that I found out with Brittany today is with the cement kennels compared to the chain link kennels, dogs can pass diseases from one another through the chain link because they have the contact. In fact, unfortunately, they had a dog that actually got his head under, grabbed hold of another dog, pulled it through and killed it. And with the cement, none of that's possible. They're all gonna be contained. And I agree with Mr. Fordyce, that it probably will take almost all this money, but after going through the whole place today, there is no doubt that the kennels is the #1 priority.
And he's correct. Like the cement walls are going to protect the dogs in numerous ways. We had a dog fighting ring in 2021, and we had to put plywood in between every kennel because the dogs were not friendly with each other. So the cement wall is going to help that. It's going to help with food aggression. It's going to help with a lot of things, diseases. There's a lot that it will help with.
Great. Any other questions? Councilman Brunner.
Help us out here. How many animals do you currently house at the shelter?
So right now I have 279 animals in our care.
Thank you.
That's cats and dogs.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President? Go ahead, Mr. Cowgill.
I would love to make a motion that we pass general ordinance, where are we?
Appropriation ordinance.
Or appropriation ordinance 19/2024 on to second reading, public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice President Calgill, the first second that came in from Councilman Kane. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Whitten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 19-2024 will move on to a second reading public hearing at the next council meeting. Thank you so much, Brittany. And moving on to appropriation ordinance 2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $400,000 from the ARPA fund for the Marion Municipal Airport. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell, Jr.
I think I'm holding this one down by myself tonight. Airport is a vital part of our community. I just got a call out of the blue about an interview. Somebody interviewed me for what was going on at the airport. They called and said that our airport, in collaboration with Indiana Wesleyan and Grant County Regional Career Center, was graduating at a 94% rate for people who go to pilot school out there. They just called me today and interviewed me about this, and I didn't know what was happening, so I had to come up with some answers on the spot. But nevertheless, that's amazing news to hear. So not only is our airport servicing the businesses that fly in and out of town, the first thing that people see, there's a big educational component to the airport that is vital for our community. So this investment, what they're looking for this $400,000 is to replace the tanks. And I'm going to try to explain it as eloquently as the engineer did last time he was here. So the tanks we have currently right now are underground, and they are currently, I think, only holding 8,000 gallons apiece. They're looking to update to 12,000 gallon tanks each that will be above ground. So this will then eliminate the possibility of leakage and getting contamination. But then also it would reduce the amount of refills. The tanks need to be refilled. They can hold more fuel at one time. And additionally, this will be able to allow them to fuel larger jets at the same time. So this is an investment of environmental safety, improving traffic for fueling at the airport, and also allowing them to save money to not have to pay for so many fueling runs.
Thank you, Mayor. And just for clarification, I know at the budget committee meeting, he said that this would fund, I believe, the Jet A tank. And then I guess they have a grant through the federal government to do the 100 LL tank. So we're kind of partnering with the federal government, and really this is federal money to get all these tanks removed or put in. Any other questions? Any questions? Yes.
I have a relationship with the airport board. The life of these kind of tanks is about 30 years. This tank, I believe, is 38 years. It's earned its retirement. I forget where I was going with that. But it is above ground, so leaks can be easily fixed without digging them up. And, oh yeah, there were one of the tanks, and I can't remember which it was, you may have it there. One of the tanks was approved for a federal grant and got paid for that. The other was not approved, and that's what this would. I don't remember if it's the 100 low lead or if it's the Jet A. But this covers the one that the federal grant wasn't allowed for.
Yeah, that's what I was just stating too. I think this one covers the Jet A, I believe, or one or the other. Yeah, I mean the federal government's covering the other one. So, yeah. Any other questions, comments? There it is. Yeah. Either way, it's one of the tanks. I can't remember now. It's the Jet A. It's the Jet A. Okay, that's what I thought. Good. Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to pass appropriation ordinance 2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Second.
Motion to pass appropriation ordinance 2024 was made by Councilman Fordyce, seconded by Councilman Klein. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 2024 has moved on to second reading, public hearing, and has passed. Moving into appropriation ordinance 2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $400,000 from the ARPA fund for the Grant County Economic Growth Council. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell, Jr.
Small businesses in cities like Marion are the backbone. And right now, the city of Marion doesn't have anything that helps small businesses. So when I was going through and creating this plan, I wanted to create an avenue where we can assist small businesses local here in Marion, Indiana, and help them grow, expand, and help them get established. Because I believe that every city should have some kind of avenue to encourage entrepreneurship and development of the businesses that already exist here in the city. So partnering with the Growth Council and our new director is here tonight. I'll have him share some after I conclude my portion. But partnering with the Growth Council, I'm asking the council to appropriate this $400,000 to start the seed money of a revolving loan fund. We'll be able to give businesses only in the city of Marion, in our limits located here, a revolving loan at 1% at a maximum of $50,000 to help your business grow, expand, or get started. So now, one of the things that we wanted to make sure we had in place is there's an application that Council President McKinley has on the screen that everyone will go through, and then overseeing this process of how the funds are dispersed will be a committee. The committee will be made up of appointees from the administration, the council, and the Growth Council. And I think that concludes my portion. If Mr. Brinker wants to share anything else about it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Yeah, as you know, the Growth Council has been involved in these types of endeavors over many, many years, decades actually. So there's currently a revolving fund that the Growth Council has funded and administers that is a $30,000 cap. It's a market rate plan or loan. It's been very successful. We've had several folks interested. This additional appropriation would just really open up the door for many, many more. What the Growth Council has available is very limited. I think our fund is at about $90,000. So to bring $400,000 into play for the many businesses that are in need and have opportunity to grow and to expand, as well as the startup businesses, will be a game changer, I think, for the city of Marion. So the other thing about the Growth Council's funds, those funds are available all across the county. These funds would be specifically allocated for businesses in the city of Marion. And so I think that's definitely an advantage for the city. I think the mayor's vision really is on point. I've had, in the 6 weeks that I've been in the office with the Growth Council, I've had at least 3 entrepreneurs come in with excellent plans, very well put together business plans, and looking for help to start up a business, to try to realize their dream and their vision. And I think with the mayor's guidance and leadership and support, these are the kinds of individuals that'll really receive help. And I think overall, it benefits the entire community. As the mayor already mentioned, small business is really the backbone. Small businesses really cumulatively employ more employees than the larger businesses. And so I think it's a great program, and the Growth Council is excited to be a part and to help with this process and to administer the program.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it. And anybody have any questions for him? Yeah, go ahead.
Would the business owner have to be a Marion resident as well?
I actually haven't thought of that yet. I think that if your main business is operating here in Marion, Indiana, I think that suffices this. Yeah. And that's something that we can decide in the committee. When the committee we put together, we can finalize and go to with a fine-tooth comb on the rules and regulations of how anything we need to add to these applications.
It's a great question. Any others? Yes.
Just not a question, but a comment. This is one of the expenditures of $400,000 that will keep coming back to us. It's revolving. It's a revolving loan, and so we loan those monies out, and we get paid back with interest. So this is $400,000. That's just not a one shot like some of these other expenditures. This one will keep coming back, and and we're sowing seeds for hopefully great results. So.
Absolutely, Councilman Kane. And I think, not only will the money come back in terms of being repaid back into the fund, but additional funds come back through the tax base and through utility payments and through, whatever other expenses that these little smaller businesses incur. Again, taxes, payroll taxes, all of those things will come back into the city and be a benefit and a bonus as well. So not only the 400,000 that continues to come back, and hopefully 40 years from now, still helping people, right? So it should just continue to accumulate and grow, and there's just a ton of benefits to a program like that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to pass appropriation ordinance 21-2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fordyce, second by Councilman Brunner. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 21-2024 has moved on to second reading, public hearing as it was passed. And moving into appropriation ordinance 22-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $400,000 from the ARPA fund for the Community Foundation. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
So on the opposite end of this, we have a plethora of nonprofits who serve our city at I can't even put words on it. I obviously shout out one, the Boys and Girls Club, to Radiant Health, to the training center, to the senior center, to the YMCA, to all these things. To think about how much of a load that these nonprofits are carrying for our citizens. So now, what this will be, it will be a nonprofit grant seeking that the Community Foundation would host for us. And one thing that the Community Foundation Executive Director pointed out in our budget committee, this money will be going through the Community Foundation, not to the Community Foundation. So they would just be hosting and administering the grant for us, and then the nonprofits would apply through this grant cycle, through this application, and likewise on this, the committee will be making a selection between the council appointees, the administration appointees, and the Community Foundation appointees.
Great, thank you. And I just want to clarify what you see on the screen. If you're looking at the dates for the cycle, that would be updated. This was presented when the original ARPA plan was put together. So yeah, that pretty much that's the application, but we would update just for the audience. These dates are going to be updated, of course, to be the appropriate time. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. President, thank you. And Mayor. Ms. Brown gave us her pledge, and and just like you reiterated, that the council and the city would have a seat at that table. And I respect that and I believe it. But my gut still bothers me about government funding not-for-profits, and especially with this money, that once it's gone, it's gone. We can't, it could end up not doing what we expect it to do. We'll only have representation. We won't have full veto power. My gut just has problems with it. I'd almost rather see this $400,000 to fix up this building, because we know it needs air conditioning, we know it needs this and that, different topic, different subject. But I just think we're giving up a little more control than we really should with this. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mayor, go ahead.
If I may respond, thanks, Council President. I think that when we do the committee selections, the odds will be in our favor. Yeah.
To get that on the record.
Yeah.
No, it does, I agree.
For both, the odds will be in our favor for the previous one that just passed and this one. The odds will be in our favor.
If I can make a comment, I think that's a big clarification. There was a lot of concern on that, Mayor. And I appreciate you bringing that to a point because there was a lot of members that had a little problem with some of that. So if we do have major point on it, and we'll have the determination since it's the city's money and ARPA money, that'll make a big difference. I appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
I had one thing, if I may. Is there a guarantee or a stipulation that the money stays in Marion and that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like the previous one, this will only be for nonprofits located within the city of Marion.
Yeah, I think that's on the form, isn't it? One of the top questions. I think that.
Yeah, it says, second line down, must be located within the city limits of Marion to be eligible. Yeah. And they have to be a certified 501c3 in good standing. It's pretty detailed, so. Yeah, any other questions?
Just a comment. Yeah. And I have some hesitation too on this, to be quite honest. So, not a real fan of taxpayers' money going towards nonprofits. We've run into the problems in the past where, I'm not saying this will happen again, but nonprofits start depending upon taxpayers' money to survive, and we come up with some issues with that. If there's unlimited areas where $400,000 could be spent at. If we take in our budget meeting, Jerry Foss and I quoted the amount of $7,100 on the average to tear down one home. This $400,000 would tear down additional 56 blighted homes across Marion, and so that's also a real impact. So I've not made my decision up whether I'm for or against this. I'm just throwing out some ideas. So I'm treading carefully on this subject. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. I mean, are there any organizations as of right now that have expressed interest in this?
Oh yeah, they're all just waiting for it to pass. Like, so they're all going to put something. Same with the businesses too. They're waiting for it to pass so they can put their application in.
Would you be comfortable sharing any of the names for those nonprofits, or I don't know?
I mean, I would have to list all of them in the city. Yeah, all of them. They're waiting. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, Councilman.
And Councilman Kane and I are on the same page. I'm almost willing to vote yes for this just to see what the public says at the public hearing.
Certainly, Mr. Klein, I will not vote no and discourage public comment. So yeah, I would never vote no on a first reading. I'm willing to pass this on a second reading and public hearing. I would never vote against that on first reading. Yeah, and just to be let it known, I am on a nonprofit board myself that would probably reap benefits from this, and so. Yeah, I understand the need, but there's many needs in the community. So I'm just being honest. I haven't decided yet.
Councilman Brenner, yeah.
Mayor, we're talking approximately $500,000. How many companies do you think would you be working with, so we have an idea of how much each of them would be getting?
So the committee, so the range of funding is from $10,000 to $50,000, and the committee that we all be a part of selecting people to be on. Well, so it could be a minimum of 40 people, 40 companies, or a maximum of what's that math? 20.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that appropriation ordinance number 22, 2024 pass to second reading, public hearing.
Second. Motion by Vice President Cowgill, second by Councilman Kane. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 22-2024 has moved on to second reading and public hearing. Moving into appropriation ordinance 23-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $1 million from the ARPA Fund for the Redevelopment Commission. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell, Jr.
Yeah, so this will be going towards site work and site development for Riverfront project. And this is, the request is submitted to the RDC. And one of the things that came up in the budget meeting is, we want to make sure we're overseeing these things. And our great, I still haven't come up with a name for him at this moment, but just calling him Mr. Graff for now. He does so many things, but he's able to oversee this project. And this will go towards infrastructure, utilities, relocating or burying, remediation for environmental remediation, and the infrastructure, relocation of sidewalks, streets, etc. That's what these funds are being asked to be transferred to the RDC for. Which, sorry, we also have members on the council who are on RDC, so it's not going to disappear to the RDC and just go away. So that's another thing about it.
Thank you, Mayor. I am that member on the RDC, just for disclosure. Just transparency. Anybody have any questions? I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we pass appropriation ordinance number 23, 2024 to second reading and public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Kane, second by Councilman Klein. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
Yes.
McKinley.
Appropriation ordinance 23-2024 has moved on to second reading, public hearing, and moving into appropriation ordinance 24-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $1 million from the ARPA Fund for blight elimination. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell, Jr.
Now, I love all the ones that I've asked for, but this is my favorite one. This is like my MO, my motto, the whole administration that we're going for blight elimination, cleaning up the city. So our Commissioner Foss and I came up with a really good plan. So, I mean, I kind of highlight one of them. So the obvious of blight elimination is demolitions, right? Tearing stuff down and cleaning up the city. But one creative thing he came up with this, and I really want to highlight, because I do have a heart, right? So when we go out and we enforce this code and we tear people's houses down or even cut their grass, and oftentimes we come across somebody, whether they're elderly and widowed or disabled, etc., and it's not that they are trying to cause blight on the city on purpose. They're just physically unable to do what they're supposed to be doing. So knowing this, our commissioner created a line item within this blight elimination for elderly assistance. So you will be able to give assistance to people who are struggling because of their actual physical inability to be able to take care of their property.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to add on to that. You talked about assistance for elderly, but we would be open to assistance for people with disabilities that might run into issues with they have a disability or develop a disability and they struggle sometimes with handling that.
Yeah, so recently we just started the Mayor's Council for People with Disabilities, and which is, you might have seen it came out that we're offering bus rides to the city council meeting. That was one of the things that came up when I was meeting with people that have disabilities. They said, we want to participate, we want to physically be there, but we can't get there. So can we provide public transportation? So we'll open that up. All that to say, yes, we're doing everything we can to make sure we can help people with disabilities, and that would be a fair thing to add to that line item with the elderly assistance.
Go ahead.
I agree with you, Mayor. This is probably my favorite one too, because for so long, we've needed to clean Marion up. You know, I think that's been one of our problems, is that the blight has gotten so far out of control that you almost look at it and go, man, where do we start? $1 million towards that is, I mean, you know, like going back to what you said, Dave, at the amount of what it takes to tear down a house, $1 million is gonna, we'll have what, 2 houses left in Marion, I think, but it's gonna go a long way, and it's to your 2.0 cleanup, this is big.
This is a huge thing in my district, and I really like the addition of the elderly and the handicapped assistance. If it would be great if we could maybe tie in the trade schools to maybe do some of this work and keep it locally and help those kids get some experience helping the elderly fix porches or do paint or trim work. Or it's great plan that.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great idea, by the way. Wish I thought of it. And some people have asked me what all the ARPA money's going for, and they've asked specifically the ones with 7 figures, what the $1 million stuff is for. And I've explained it. And the one thing people's eyes light up that's the elderly assistance thing. And adding it's people, I mean, that's the one, I mean, they like a lot of it. That's the one thing that's universally, the light bulb is, that's a great idea.
We'll add on that though, I have a huge heart for it. Obviously I brought up people with disabilities. I just caution, I don't want us to become a lawn care service. We do have companies in town that will do it, and if people can afford it, then they can. I don't want to put all our lawn care services in town out of business, but I do think there is a niche and a need here and there. I'm glad that you're bringing it up and addressing it, but I do think it needs to be fair, but there needs to be definitely oversight of that management and who's getting selected and fair criteria on that, just to prevent overspending on that and loosening it up over time. And the next thing you know, we're mowing 1,000 yards or something like that, where people could possibly afford to pay a company to do that. So while I'm in support of that, just want to make sure we're keeping an eye on that. Anybody else? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
If I may, I'd like to ask that we pass appropriation ordinance 2024 to a second reading and a public hearing.
Second.
Just for clarification, there you made a motion for appropriation ordinance 24-2024. Is that what you're asking?
24-2024.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're second. Okay, just wanted clarity for the minutes. It's all good. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
Kinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 24-2024 has moved on to second reading public hearing. Moving to appropriation ordinance 25-2024 first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $200,000 from the ARPA fund for the street department. Speaking Mayor Ronald Morel.
I was just really embarrassed when this is the real reason why I asked it. I was embarrassed. We have a trash truck that when you drive and you turn, the bottom side of it just almost comes off the frame. Right? It's all rusted out. The floorboards where they sit and drive are like old plates welded together. It's just a complete, and it makes it even worse, it has a City of Marion sticker on the side of it. How embarrassing that and it's driving everywhere, right? Driving through all our parks, serving all of our parks, and we have this. lackluster display of equipment and that's the first thing people are seeing as a driver around Marion. Got the City of Marion sticker on the side of this truck that's falling apart. And I hate to say it, but it ends up being a representation of other places in the city. So all that to say, we are in desperate need of a new trash truck. And that's what this ask is for. And not only in the budget committee, our citywide superintendent, Mr. Hyatt, shared this truck also comes with the ability to do power washing, and it comes with like a leaf sucker on the side of it as well to be able to accomplish more than just the traditional trash pickup. And also for clarification, this truck, this isn't the truck that drives around and picks up trash from your house. This is like the park system and the city operated stuff, trash pickup.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody have any questions, comments? I did have it on the screen here for anyone in the audience, pretty detailed quote. Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we pass appropriation ordinance number 25-2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kane, second by Vice President Calgill. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 26-2024 is passed. Moves on to second reading, public hearing. Correction, that was ordinance 25-2024, second reading, public hearing. And we're going to move into appropriation ordinance 26-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $200,000 from the ARPA fund for the engineering department. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
The last one was embarrassment, and this one made me upset. I used to live downtown and to be walking, and I would wonder why are all these bricks always busted up around around the intersections in the square. Every single year, it's never fixed. It never looks nice. It's 6, 7 different shades and styles of bricks, and it's just not presenting well. And then after I got past the look of it, I dove in with our engineer Mike Graff, and we're spending between $15,000 to $25,000 a year on maintenance on these bricks. And everybody probably sees them every year when they're out there by hand chipping these bricks out. So we're spending a fortune, and it looks bad. So what this money is going towards is tearing the bricks out and just doing normal pavement across that. And now our first bid came back. This doesn't cover the whole thing. It's $290,000 what the first bid came back. So this is a huge seed into this, but I don't want to speak a huge seed to get it done. But we have some other local government bodies that are interested in helping us get it across the rest of the way finish line. So I don't want to speak for them too early, but it's bothering them just as much as it's bothering us, and they're willing to assist us the rest of the way across the line.
And from what I understand is once we pave this, then the state will then take over paving it in the future, correct?
That is in the consideration, right? So for clarification to explain, when I think this would have been 2001, somewhere between 2000 and 2004, when we tore the street up and decided to put bricks. The state wanted no part of this, and they said, if you do this, we no longer have responsibility for these intersections. And against our judgment, at the time we did it, tore it up, now it's our responsibility to maintain this. So in order for the state to come back and maintain the road, which is technically theirs, we have to get it back to the standard of which they operate in. So once we get it back to their standard, then we can present it to them and say, hey, now this is yours to add back into your maintenance schedule.
Perfect, thank you. Any other council members? I would enter.
Sorry. This has been an eyesore for a while, so I'm glad you're addressing it.
Just question on the bid is, I'm assuming that includes, once they take it out, they're going to restripe the walkways. I mean, it's pavement, but we're going to restripe the walkways, correct?
Yeah, so I'm looking at some more of we're trying to decide between the traditional piano keys, like in front of the hospital. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that, the piano key walkway, or there's more creative things that cities can do that make it look nice. But the most simple and get it done quickly is the piano key style. crosswalk.
And that's included in these?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. I would entertain a motion if there's no other comment.
Mr. President, I move that we pass appropriation ordinance number 26, 2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Kane, a second by Councilman Klein. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, yes.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 26-2024 is passed. Moves on to second reading, public hearing. Moving into appropriation ordinance 27-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $150,000 from the ARPA fund for the Parks Department. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
So everywhere I go, I try to get my presentation together, how I'm going to pitch Marion and sell Marion to people. And the first thing that's always at the top of my list, whether 1, 2, is our park system, right? Obviously, Modern Park being the keynote of it all, but the rest of our 13 parks are amazing. And what we realized in the budget committee presentation that our parks director did, they've been severely underfunded for a long time. So with this $150,000 request, they've itemized out how they would like to spend those funds to bring our parks up to date. Some of it is just maintenance, from basic maintenance that we haven't done. We've overlooked for a long time. Some of it is us getting to ADA compliance with the garden house. The ramp needs to be redone to be able to match the compliance for ADA, and this overall plan and beautifying the city. And then this is more focused on beautifying our parks, which is one of our greatest assets.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions? I know there were several different estimates giving in for multiple things with the fence and all that. This one also included the splash house, correct?
Yeah, so the splash house was built, oh man, I was in high school. So this would have been 2000, it would have been 2008, 9 maybe. They haven't replaced these filters since then, right? So this is getting bad. So we gotta replace these filters. The fencing, so at Modern Park, we store our equipment, like nice lawnmowers, backhoes, etc. And there's no fence. So you can just walk in there and steal stuff. You can walk in there and steal gas. They have people just go steal gas because there's no fence. Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. This is good. This is great. But in the future, is the Parks Department budget going to include the stuff for the maintenance that we're making up for?
We're going through the budget cycle now, and that's going to in my mind in consideration to be able to figure this out or try to get something more allocated towards the park.
Appreciate bringing that up, because I did bring that up at the budget committee meeting too, about, well, why are we at to this point with all this stuff in the Parks Department? And again, not trying to point fingers. I don't know, we're in a new administration, and hopefully we can clear it up in the future. And I did make a comment at the budget committee meeting about the splash house being revenue generating, not necessarily a profit, but we get revenue from it to help subsidize some of that upkeep and maintenance. So my hope is that maybe there can be a fresh look at that, so we can find a way to keep up better and not get behind on all of these things. It blows my mind that we have all these requests of things that have been put off for so long. And I just go, where were these requests before, and why weren't they funded? And but I'm really glad we're here now and we're talking about it. And as you pointed, this is ARPA money. It's a one-time shot. So hopefully in the future we can prevent this from happening. So anybody else?
Just a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was Mayor, it was refreshing to, in the budget meeting, to have the department heads come in and speak to us. That was very refreshing to share their actual needs, because we haven't heard that. And so we find out a lot of items that have been shoved under the rug for many, many years, that are coming to light, that need maintenance, that need upkeep. I can't tell you the number of hours I personally spent volunteering my time and resources and tools and everything else working on the splash house in that back room, keeping that plumbing system going. My son was years ago lived in Marion, was the head of the splash house, and wow, we spent a lot of time back in that back room just keeping that place together because he had no money to deal with. And so it's important that we, here again, just like the library, the splash house is another jewel of the community that give our children and adults a place to spend the summertime and get out of the heat on weeks like this, and give something for the kids to do and keep them out of trouble. That doesn't work all the time, is my understanding, but that's our desire. And so a lot of this money is spent on quality of life issue. That's been a buzzword for years and years and years, but it's true. And it's so important that we keep our Parks Department in tip-top shape. It was, Brian and I, and we spent in our younger days down at Mater Park at the old swimming pool down there. And so, hey, lack of upkeep, what happened to it? They tore it out because there was no upkeep. It was leaking more water than we could put in it. So we certainly don't want that to happen again with our park system, with our splash house. So I applaud you for bringing this forward, and I applaud the being able to speak to the department heads and listening to their needs.
Yeah, and what I have on the screen behind me is one thing I'm excited about too, is just putting a stage roof over the existing stage there by the garden house for future events and concerts and shade. I think that's also kind of a requirement when you have a band come in. They need shade from possible rain, and I think it might expand what we can use that stage for. So I'm pretty excited about that. Councilman Brunner.
Mr. Mayor, mentioned 13 parks. Is it possible that you could spend money on each of the parks in the city?
Oh, 100%. Some of the equipment on 28th Street Park is like probably 50 years old. I can't make it up. Yeah, we got it. And they just go out there and keep replacing the little springs and try to make it keep working. So yeah, we got money to spend on every park.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Great. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion that we appropriate General Ordinance number 27, 2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion to pass appropriation ordinance 27, 2024 by Vice President Calgill, a second by Councilman Brunner. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordyce,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes. Appropriation ordinance 27-2024 has passed, moves to second reading, public hearing. And last appropriation ordinance number 28-2024, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Marion, Indiana, appropriating the amount of $21,500 from the general fund to make my move. Speaking, Mayor Ronald Morrell Jr.
We come to the end. But this is something I inherited, and we owe these people. There's nothing I can do about it. It wasn't budgeted this year. I don't know why it didn't get put into the budget, but Make My Move was a program of a previous administration started. It had some successes with it. Some families moved into the city. But in the consideration for the budget for 2024, it was not put in there. So now we are left with the bill that we have to this company and the people of $21,500.
Mayor, could you go in a little more detail on exactly where this money is going and what that program was, just for the public?
So the program is where, in its simplest form, this company goes out and recruits people to try to get them to move to Marion, Indiana, and we have to pay the company for the recruitment. But then when a citizen then moves to the city, we have to pay them $5,000 cash in incentive. So now we are short some payments for the people and the company. So Marion's not an island. There's other companies, other cities who've done this program. It's just we didn't budget for it for this year to actually pay this bill. That's where we are.
Go ahead.
Mayor, is this the last year that we're obligated for this, or is this still an ongoing?
Yeah, I decided not to renew in, I think, March when they came to me.
All right, thank you.
And we're sure this is the last amount from them, and we're whole, correct?
Yeah, this is their final bill.
Okay. Just want to make sure we just keep getting things that weren't put in the previous budget. So it's not you for sure, and it just more concerned. Just want to make sure that hopefully this is the last non-budget item we get presented with. So any other questions? I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we pass general appropriation ordinance number 28, 2024 to second reading, public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Kane, second by Councilman Klein. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane,
Aye.
Fordice,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Cowgill,
Aye.
McKinley.
Yes, appropriation ordinance 28-2024 is passed and moves to second reading, public hearing. And moving into the Marion Utility Service Board appointment, speaking me. So we do, as a council, have an appointment coming up. There's an opening on the Marion Utility Service Board for another 4-year term that expires in July 2024. And currently in that position is Jada Montero. I think she was appointed last year to fill a vacancy. But it is that position or that seat that is becoming open. Of course, anybody is open to apply for that. I know the clerk's office is going to post for that, and the deadline, so I can tell you, let's work our way backwards here. We're going to vote on that at the second meeting in July. So that'll be July 16th. So I would say the deadline needs to be Tuesday, July 9th at 4 p.m. Clerk's office, are you okay with that? Gives us enough time to get those out with the agenda and the council members to review those resumes and applications. So that position will be posted. Clerk's office will handle that. Anybody that would like to apply, please take your resume to the clerk's office. Yes.
Yeah, in case we're asked, what are the qualifications and what are the expectations for a utility service board member?
It's a great question. I was not given any of that. I don't even know where we find that right now. Was hoping the clerk's office had something from the previous meetings. And maybe that's something I could talk to our utility department to get something for that. I thought about that as well. I'm like, I don't know what the job description is. I just know we appoint somebody to that utility service board. So anyone that has any experience from the council is welcome to elaborate on that.
Not all I know.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some kind of political affiliation. Their board has to, you know what I mean? It has to balance out somehow. So many Republicans and so many Democrats.
Okay. I'll try to get some clarity on that. And yeah, and so I would say hopefully in the next day or two, I'll get clarity. So anybody that's interested, I will get that information to the clerk's office. And I would say give me until this coming Monday to get that information to the clerk's office. So if you are interested, if you're listening online or know somebody, Have them check in starting Monday with the clerk's office about those qualifications. I know I believe it's a paid position. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but we'll get a lot of those details. I just wanted to at least get it publicly announced that that is coming open, and come by this coming Monday, June 24th, we'll have all of that information at the city clerk's office here in City Hall. And again, the deadline will be July 9th at 4 p.m. And all resumes need to be submitted to the city clerk's office by 4 p.m. that day. Okay? And then we will take a vote and on the July 16th meeting at 7 p.m. in City Hall. Okay? Well, that's it on the agenda. One last thing, I was given this before the meeting. There is a Juneteenth celebration, June 22nd. And I believe also the 28th through the 30th. There's quite a bit going on at the Clarence Faulkner Center. And they're doing a Freedom 5K walk and run, a literacy challenge, Freedom Festival, and a gospel celebration. I'm sure there's plenty of information, maybe hopefully on social media. But if you want more information, you can contact April Clemens Evans at aplevans@iu.edu. Or I'm sure you could probably contact somebody at the Clarence Faulkner Center for more details for that Juneteenth celebration on June 22nd and also the 28th to the 30th. Any other council members? Mr. Jim Renner, councilman.
Just like to compliment the mayor for an outstanding performance tonight. You handled 13 appropriation ordinances, and I thought did an outstanding job. So congratulations for starting what I think could be a wonderful metamorphosis for this community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other council members or the mayor have any announcements? Great. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fordyce, second by Councilman Cowgill. Any other discussion? Mayor, did you have something in the discussion? Oh, yeah, I missed that. I'm so sorry. We'll keep that in discussion. I had an image for that and everything. A citywide cleanup is June 29th. I have it in here. Look at that. Thank you, Mayor. June 29th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central location is 33rd in Nebraska, where the dumpsters will be. 9 a.m. kickoff, lunch at noon. All residents within the city limits may drop bags and large items off at the central location anytime between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. that day. You must show an ID showing your residence. And I believe the curbside is, I'm trying to remember the boundaries, is it, I don't want to get this wrong, like 33rd and South?
South Marion is where.
Basically, South Marion, they're still going to do the curbside. They'll come by and pick things up from like the bypass to, I don't know. I can't remember now. It's on social media though. Yeah. Yeah. Just look up the boundaries. I think it's on social media. I didn't have that ready. But just wanted clarification. So I didn't want everybody in the city to put everything on their curb and the next day go, where's it at and where they come from? But there's only a certain section this time. This is the first of 4 citywide cleanups. A lot of talking tonight. Sorry, Gary.
That's right. We have a motion on the floor.
We're still in discussion.
No, we're not on the.
We're still in discussion. So anyways, yes. Just want to make sure that you know you're in that area for pickup. Okay. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Kane.
Aye.
Blame on the mayor.
Fordyce.
Aye.
It's
Brenner.
the mayor's fault.
Aye.
Point of order.
Guy.
Yes.
Witten.
Yes.
Cowgill.
Yes.
McKinley.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's the mayor's fault. I didn't even say it.
I was gonna ask you if you needed a ride.